There's a lot of blood inside the building.
You can't teach a man how to be a man. Either he is or he ain't.
We back with another reaction video. Hit the like, subscribe button. Please, I enjoy the comments. I will respond back. You don't believe me? Try it. You catch a fact in here, point it out.
Hey, you know what it is. It's your man, Peter Shue. Like I said, this is going to be the hottest show you ever heard coming from me because everybody be asking me questions, asking Val, asking all the other podcasters about me. Well, let me tell you, man, it started when I was a young kid and I was growing up in a rough neighborhood in the Bronx, South Bronx, Hunts Point, where you had to have some gangster in you. You had to be strong or else you was going to be hit. You know, they had kidnappers, they had everything in there. They had gangs. There was everything going on in this joint, but you know, I survived it, you know, and then being black and Chinese growing up in that joint, that was rough. You see what I'm saying? So I really had to be on point. But you know, I always had this glow in me and the aura that people just wanted to follow. Whether I was a stick-up kid, whether I'm getting high, whether I'm doing anything, if they see me do it, they want to do it. That's how it was, just like that. And you know, I didn't want to be that guy that be the leader. Actually, when we were sticking up, my cousin was the leader. But then, after a while, everybody just wanted to follow me. So he was man enough, and he was, you know, that's why I love him to death. He was man enough to take a back seat and let me run with this because everybody, you know, they just had so much love for me. And if I said we're going to go do something, they like bet because they know I'm going to go and I ain't leaving them. And whatever happens, happens. So that's how it was. And then we went on and started getting money. But I was losing a lot of guys to either getting arrested or getting killed. So the stick-up game was getting out of hand. And then we was robbing everybody, and you know, they tried to kill us one time in the Apollo. You know, when Smokey was performing, they got a couple of guys, but I was on the other side, and I was young at the time too. So, you know, that's when Smokey said, and you could look it up. Smokey said, "I'll never come and perform in the Apollo again." So, you know, I was just going through life with that, and then I got addicted to the sniffing coke at one time because everybody I was around was sniffing coke, and even though I was young, you know, my cousin and all the big ballers and all the big bosses and stuff was sniffing coke, and you know, I got hooked on it for a minute. So it was crazy that yeah. So you know, growing up in South Bronx, like I was telling you, you know, I was the only black and Chinese guy in the neighborhood, and you know, I had two sisters and my mother, grandmother, and my father at the time, and we had one family that was white in the neighborhood, you know, on my block, and you know, it was just. You had to be, like I said, you had to be strong. I mean, I went through so much growing up, going with the bullies and, you know, being pressured by my father to, like, step my game up because, you know, he was trying to toughen me up, so he was real hard on me. And, you know, I could be in a fight and, you know, anybody else's parents probably want to come and break the fight up. But the kid might run over and say, you know, your son is fighting. And he'll say some crazy shit like, yo, is he winning? And then keep on moving. So, you know, I just had to go through a lot. And then I had to fight the guys that was older than my sisters because if they get into something, I have to go out there and represent. And my sisters was like 2 and probably 5 years older than me. So I was taking a lot of ass whippings. And, you know, but, you know, ass whipping is a lesson. So, you know, you learn from all that. So after a while, it became nothing to me. Then when my mother took my father 38 long and hid it from him, and I found it, you know, after she threw it in the garbage can. That became my first gun. And once I picked that up, you know, that's when I had stability in my life and equalized my weight loss because of my 100 and something pounds, but my gun 60, 70 pounds in my eyes. Then the weight's even now, and everybody started messing with me because they know I would put 2 in their ass. So that's what it was, you know, and the neighborhood, you know, was just a rough neighborhood. It was so much going on.
This guy is real as hell though. Like, damn,
he didn't take the gun from his dad, but he found it. He was already jacking people, so he must have been jacking people without a gun before. Oh, man.
People dying every day, people getting robbed every day, and I seen him cut somebody's head off in front of me. It was, the prostitutes was crazy out there. Dope fiends is crazy. It was, you just had to put up with that. So as you go into school, you had to deal with the gangs and stuff, and the gangs, they want to be bullies. There's a bunch of them, man. There was one time when I was in junior high school, this girl, I forgot the name of the gang, but she had to get initiated, I think. It was a Spanish gang, and she said I grabbed her ass, and I never even touched that girl's ass. But the thing was, you had to apologize, and I wasn't trying to apologize, so they surrounded me. They was getting ready to beat the shit out of me, and my man, God bless the dead, Derek, he was like, yo, say you sorry, man, say you sorry. So I was like, it hated me, it hurt me so bad to say it, so I ended up saying, I apologize. So when I went upstairs, I seen this girl who's like a sister to me, still like a sister to me. Her name is Tanya. She was a black spade at the time. So she was always see me and ask me if I'm okay and hug me and whatever. So she's like, what's wrong with you? Because she should see it in my face. And Debbie, Debbie telling everything. I said, yo, you told her what happened. She said, who? So I told her it was on the 4th floor. So she went back downstairs. Man, Tanya took the girl in front of her whole gang, slammed up against the wall. She said, you ever disrespect my little brother again? And I looked at myself like, why I couldn't do that? You know what I'm saying? But that's how it is. And, to this day, me and Tanya's close. Actually, she hit me today, said good morning to me. So I love her like a sister. The only thing that I really fell in love with when I was growing up was basketball. That was my thing. I wanted to be Walt Frazier so bad. At the time, I thought he was so cool on the court for the Knicks, and he just put on in a Game 7 game. Never seen this in my life. No Game 7 championship game has anybody put these stats up. 36.19 assists and like 7 rebounds, I think it was. But that was my thing. I used to cut class, go play ball. My father used to want to put me in martial arts schools, and I tried it, but it wasn't my thing. And plus, the trip was all the way down to Canal Street, and I lived all the way up in the Bronx, so that was too long of a ride to be coming home at nighttime and have to keep doing your classwork. So I just was playing ball every day, and that was my first love. So we played ball, cut class, me and my man. At the time, his name was James, but his name is Jamal now. We used to just play all day. My favorite point guard, Irv Ruffin, used to give me the ball, and I just put work in. Porgy. So we just was basketball fanatics. So, I'd be cutting class, and my father and mother be in the principal's office. And niggas yelling out the window, yo, your mother and father's in the principal's office. I said, oh, damn, that's another ass whipping. Because when I got ass whippings, unlike what they do now, I got ass whippings by 3 people. My grandmother whipped me first, then my mother whipped me next, and then when my father come home for work, that's the last one. I used to try to duck it by going to sleep. Then they wake me out my sleep and whip my ass. So I took a lot of ass whippers from them, from misbehaving.
I don't know if y'all ever had it happen to y'all, but it happened to me more than once. If y'all ever had y'all ass whooped out of y'all sleep, wasn't nothing to laugh about then, but you could probably laugh about it now. Comment.
So, going through all that basketball stuff, that's when I got the places where I used to go, 371, Club 371, and Disco Fever, and the Hilltop. And that's when I started getting hooked on the coke, sniffing the coke. Never smoked it, but sniffing it. And, the baddest DJ back then, and I don't care what nobody say, was DJ Hollywood. Vicious on that mic. So I still love listening to his music. I used to go to 371, because they said, where do you have some fun at 371? And he had so much cool raps that he was putting out there. He was the first rapper to me that really was fantastic. So after we finished 371, then we go to Disco Fever. And Disco Fever make you a believer, because you be in there snipping and, you having a good time, and then you be high as hell. So,
do anybody know who DJ Hollywood is? Can anybody comment on that and tell me who he is?
You don't want to go home yet, so then you go to the hilltop. That's right up the street. So when I used to come out the hilltop, it'd be like 11 and a half in the morning, and my eyes, the sun be on you like a vampire. You'd be like covering your eyes, and it was just crazy, a crazy feeling. Myself and my man Earl and Porgy, they looked at me and said, "Yo, it's over for you." I said, "Yeah, I know." So then I started coaching because I love the game so much. So I started coaching the game, you know. After I was played in the Buck, I started coaching in the Buck, and I started bringing my teams in. And because the future asked me to put a team in, he said, "You got to represent just up to the first from the Bronx." So I was thinking about a name to come up with. So I said, "Fuck it, the name of my team gonna be Taking No Prisoners." So when I put the Taking No Prisoners out there, 2 Glocks on the side, smoke come out of the guns, 2 tombstones on the back with the names of the teams, and the front would say "Taking No Prisoners." So everybody wanted to. We had Mike Gregg, God bless the dead. We had David Lopez. We had Anti-Gravity. It was so many. I might have left a few names out, but we had so many ball players. And so I had them playing. I took Massive Album up to Mount Vernon before Massive Album was a beast. I took him to Mount Vernon. He put on a show up there. And we was playing in them leagues with when I stopped playing, we was going up there and play against Gus Williams, Scooter McCrae, Rodney McCrae, Lois Moore, Ray Williams, Glenn Big Hands McMillan. So I was just letting them ball. So that was my side thing. And Cameron and Mace talked about me not too long ago on their show about me being up in the rucker and stuff, and always having my gun in my bag. But yeah, that was real rucker. That other stuff is just like the NBA right now, watered down. But when we had the rucker, Mousy, shout out to Mousy. Mousy's a good dude, Ed Rice, OG Juan, they all had teams out there. So Flavor Unit, Any Way You Want It, Mousy's All Stars. So you had a lot of good teams out there, and we just had fun. One of my favorite players was Terminator. I never got to get him on my team, but he had a pro game. He had a pro game, even for his height. He played tough. I really want to bust him in his head because he play against us, and he'll play that tough D on dudes, and he gets away with grabbing and holding. But he's a great player. I mean, you had so many. You had the half man, half amazing. There was so many basketball players out there that was worthy of the praise. Speedy, Craig Pendergrass. I loved the ball players that was out there. Iron Man, Tommy Starks. It was so many good ball players. The Twins, the Riflemen. So, and a crazy shout out to my man Greg Maris that started the Ruckus, and I miss him dearly. People ask me a lot about the 70s. And 70s was kind of, I was still trying to get me my first piece of, booty. So the 70s was like fun times for me and junior high school and all that. And man, I'm a sucker for love. So there was some pretty girls in junior high school that I really was trying to get with. Even in public school, I was trying to get with. I love, and then in them days and times, when you like the girl, you used to hit on her all the time. So you be hitting on her and she'd be crying, but you trying to show her that you really like her. And I was caught up in that. But I wasn't hitting them hard, but just hitting on them. So there was this girl named Robin that I liked, and she had some big brothers. She used to go get her brothers after me, not to run and go get my sister. So, but when I got to junior high school, I mean, that's when, stuff started hitting the fan. That's when I started getting, a little bit of coochie, And the whole thing is, there was so many cute, pretty girls in there. I mean, me and my man James used to always, be on the lookout. We even had this staircase where everybody come to the cafeteria. So the dudes used to take the light bulbs out the staircase. So when the girls come down the steps, they could be grabbing their butt and everything. You know, screaming and everything. So it was funny at the time. But that was our wreck, and everything comes to an end. So that stopped after a while because they started suspending dudes that got caught up in that staircase. So you just had to go through things to grow a growing thing. And I understand. That's why I understand why these young brothers is going through life you know, kind of lost because, first of all, be your own man. Don't be nobody's follower. Be a leader. If you're going to do something, make sure you do it because it's you, not because somebody else wants you to do it, and you end up not coming home. And that's what I be trying to tell the young kids all the time. Yo, be yourself. Do what you want to do. If you're going to do something, and don't tell on nobody. Once you get committed to something, you get caught, that's on you. Don't be weak and get under the lights and start telling on everybody. Because that's not cool. And I don't care what nobody says. It's not cool. But in the 70s, we were just, you know, starting to feel ourselves. You know, we getting at that age where we 15 and whatever and trying to, you know, make things happen. So me and my man James started selling, Jamal, we started selling weed, loose joints. So we were selling loose joints and, you know, making a little bit of money off of that. We were selling them joints and we going down to them parks, 14th Street, and doing our thing. And, you know, we was young, so the older guys was like, oh, look at these little hustlers. So they had no problem with us getting that money out there when we was selling them joints in the 70s. But then we started getting so popular, everybody's trying to come get them loose joints from us. So after a while, we getting a couple of thousand a day from these people. So we eating out their pockets. So one night, I was a little late getting down there. So James went by himself, and they stuck him up when he got down there, and took his product and told him, yo, don't come back down there, we're gonna kill you. Now these are the dudes that was letting us hustle. Did this. So they said, don't come back down there, we're gonna kill you. So when I got down there, I didn't see him, but I felt something was wrong. So I shot back uptown, and then he told me, yo, them niggas robbed me. So I said, oh, that's it for that. We can't mess around again, you know. So then we was robbing them. We was doing all types of shit. I was robbing the prostitutes, and, you know, I used to rob the prostitutes and have somebody choke them, and I go in there with the glove and take their money down Sport Market, and the pimps be chasing us. But, you know, they didn't have their guns couldn't be on them because the police be cruising through there. So they chase us, and we run, and then, you know, we hide on the side of the cars, and you can hear them. We're going to get these motherfuckers one day. So one day they came to the park where I play ball at, because 48 Park was right up the street. And they was like, we know one of you motherfuckers is robbing our hoes. And if we find out who it is, we're going to kill you. You know, and all this type they selling death tickets. And, you know, so we stopped robbing the prostitutes. So it's always something that made us have to come to an end to doing things. So that's what it was. And then I started sticking shit up. We was just robbing drug dealers. We was robbing electronic stores. You know, movie theaters. I robbed the Beacon Theater one time. And it was funny when I was with these two dudes, and they was like, yo, they knew all the angles to the spot. So we go in there, we robbed these joints. And I think I got like 5,000 from them. And we running through the show. So what happened, right? This nigga got me running into the wall, blank, you know. So he's supposed to know how to get in and out. So what happened? Well, we ended up separating. So I ran down steps, and I'm running through the audience now because you know they after us, and I had a white hoodie on. So my man Vincent was like, yo, Shue, what you doing? I said, yo, you got somebody sitting next to you? He's like, nah. He said, come on, sit down. So I sat down. I had to take my hoodie off, and you see the police, they coming through there looking for a dude. And I had the money. So, you know, I kept the money because I was so mad at what that dude did. He made me into a wall where we could have got arrested. So I was doing all kind of crazy stuff when it comes to that, you know, robbing and stuff. And yeah, so now, you know, the end of the 70s come, we're going into the 80s. I'm getting tired of getting high. You know, I still was robbing, but I was like, this cocaine shit is really, I'm not feeling it like I used to. So actually, I ended up stopping before I got arrested. But like they say, all good things come to an end. And they was on me, and they finally, of course, somebody snitched on me, and we had robbed these people, and then they saw his BMW, so he ended up telling on me, talking about, and had his sister call me, talking about, yo, Shue, break out. They found out who you are. I said, yeah, motherfucker. Tell him, because I know they found out how they found out. He told on me. You know what I'm saying? So I broke out. So I caught myself trying to be slick, you know, and I'm chilling, and the police come to my house, and my mother answered the door, and she's like, my mother, listen, a mother is the best thing to have, trust me, and if you got your mother still alive, cherish that. The police came, the detectives came in there, they said, you have a son named Peter Shue? And she's like, yeah, that's my son. He said, can we come in? So he came in. He said, where's he at? She said, oh, he's away at school. So they looking at the pictures in the house. Well, my mother changed all the pictures and put a black guy instead of me, which is black and Chinese. So now in all the pictures, there's a black guy in there. So they was like, this is Peter? She said, yeah, that's him. So the funny thing is, like, all right, they leave. So she said, she called me, you know, when I called, she said, you could come back home. They left. So when I came back 2 weeks later, I'm in the house chilling. And then all of a sudden, you know, my man, Mello, he was like, yo, let's go play some ball. So I said, bet, let's go play. So I put my 357 in a big pony bag. I got the 357, the towel, and the basketball, because I always had my gun on me. So we coming down the block. And, you know, he's trying to strip the ball from me. And I spun right into the handcuffs. Them niggas cuffed me up. So I thought I was going to get away. They cuffed me. And I said, well, can I at least get my bag to my man? They said, yeah, go ahead. So they would have kept the bag. They would have found the 357, which they were saying what I was using for the robberies. So they got the bag. I end up going to Rikers Island. I went to Bronx County first. And, you know, I had a $5,000 bail. My family bailed me out. I come out. Before I could get to hug him, they cuffed me again. I said, you want him? He'd be at Rikers Island. They hit me with another case. So I had to get bailed out again for $5,000 more. So I was going through some really mental anguish at that time. So I went to Rikers Island, and, you know, Bronx County is different because Bronx County is so small. You had the cells, and you're looking through the TVs through the cells. So you had a little area where you come out and eat and stuff, but Rikers Island is different. Rikers Island, when I was in there, was kind of wild, and you had to hold your own. And I remember when I first got in there, when I came through Rikers Island, and these guys was looking at me coming through there. They was like, yo, what size your jacket? I said, your size. Because I knew what to say. I was already programmed. Your size. So they said, all right. So now I'm like, oh, these niggas gonna try me. So when I get to the mess hall, I run into the older dudes that knew me. It's like, Peter Shue, what are you doing in here? You know, so they didn't know I was robbing everything. So I was like, they said, where you at? I said, I'm in one upper. So they said, all right, we coming up there, don't worry about it. So there was a big homie from the Bronx named Big Bear. So he came up in one upper, and he said, listen, I'm telling you something now. If this little Peter has any problems up here, I'm going to come up here and I'm going to tear niggas out the frame. So after that, everybody started, you know, chilling with me, showing me love, because I was a little skinny kid. So then I got bailed out again. Once I get bailed out, you know, I'm chilling. But, you know, but while we was in Rikers Island, it was a lot of guerrilla warfare going on in there. We're fighting over the phones, stabbings, you know. It's a regular stupid shit, and you had to pick and choose. And I was in there with some strong dudes, you know, from the X, and, you know, we had to hold it down. But, you know, I was the youngest and I was the skinniest, and I just had to deal with what came. But once you know, I was always protected, then the guys was like, yo, you gotta hold your own, so they made me knuckle up, you know, one-on-one, you know, and if you lose, you lose. So that's how it was. So when I came home in the 80s, for a minute, I ended up going back to jail and do 4 years. So, because I stabbed a dude, because when we was in jail, you know, I was real nice and bored at the time, so everybody used to bet on me, and this dude caught his feelings, and he was like, yo, he lost the game. He's like, you know, niggas is betting on the game. He's like, oh, your niggas will suck my dick. So that's a no-no in jail. So I said, what? So that nigga said, you heard me, all y'all. So when he went back to the shower, I ran up in there with a knife, and I stabbed him up. And I tried to run, but I ran right into the police. So after that, I went to the hole and did some more time in the hole. So when I finally came home from jail, it was 1988. Now it's, they had a party for me. They welcomed me home. I'm lost, I'm trying to get in where I fit in, what I'm going to do, wondering what I'm going to do. And I tried to do the right thing. I tried to get a job and everything. So when I went to back to the phone company where I used to work for before, they snuck me in to the company, in the company downtown on 375 Bird Street. But what happened, the supervisor that didn't like me, he ended up eavesdropping on my phone call, and I'm, where it says you checked the application, have you ever been convicted? I said no, but he was checking up on me, keeping like wiretapping me, and I went to the I was calling my PO, and he heard the conversation. So I'm sitting in my desk, at the computer. It's like 300 people on each floor, and these 4 security guards come, armed security guards, in the phone company, and they come by. And they come, and I'm like, oh shit, who they gonna get? So everybody looking, being nosy, so they keep coming towards me. So I was like, yo, who's the fuck? And the next thing you know, is Mr. Shue, log out. So I logged out. So they took me into the room, and you got 8 white people in front of me. You know why you in here? I was like, no, I don't. They said, yo, you lied on your application where it says ever been convicted. So why did you lie? I said, well, how did you think you were hiring me if I said I was convicted? So they said, well, we want you to resign. I said, I'm not resigning, you have to fire me. So what happened, my supervisor came in there, and she's like, she was black. She said, we can't do nothing for him because he's an excellent worker and he knows everything about the computers. So he said, no, we don't like liars. So that day, when they walked me out, that was the lowest point of my life. I had a Cherokee Limited at the time that Big D got me. So I'm driving up the highway, want to just drive off the bridge and kill myself. Yeah, so on my way on the bridge, I wanted to drive off that bridge so bad. So, tears was in my eyes because I tried to do the right thing, man. I was like, damn, I don't want to go back to jail. So I shoot back home. My mother's crying because she already got the word, the lady in the phone company, because that's another thing. They was trying to give up who got me in, and I'm not, I'm never going to tell her nothing. So when I got home to my mom, she's crying. I said, look, straight up, Mom, I tried to do it the right way. Don't ask me to work again. Now is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it my way. So she cried, and then the PO called me, because the PO found out, and she was like, don't worry, you get another job. I said, listen, no disrespect, Miss Smallwood, I'm not working no more. You can have me come in every day, every week. That job shit is over for me. And that's when I turned to the life of crime. Now, meanwhile, I got a present from Big D, and I didn't know what it was. So, I never opened it. I thought it was a gun, to tell you the truth. But, days go by, and I start smelling something. So I opened the joint. It was a key of coke. So I started laughing. I said, this nigga D crazy. So I called him up. And he said, yo, this is what's happening out there now, You gotta learn to get this crack shit going. So he walked me through it to cook it. And I had waited till my mother went to work. And I cooked it. I messed that whole key up. I barely got back what the key cost. So my next mission was to hire a chef. So I had to hire a chef, and then it was on and popping. I started selling that coke out there, having it cooked up and put it out on the streets. That, everything's not only being a gangster. Everything comes with luck. You could walk outside and miss $1 million, and somebody could walk out there and see that $7 million and get it. So don't think that you got skills because you got rich on the drugs. A lot of that it has to be luck involved, not just your expertise. So I stumbled across something when my little man came to me. He was like, yo, there's these Africans got the have on, but they scared to move it. So I was like, all right, because, back in them days, the Africans would get robbed. Everybody, they were robbed, and the Africans would fight back. They just take the robbery. So I started moving the weight of the dope. So I started getting that, and I was moving that, and I'm making $50,000 off that joint every time we moved the key. because I'm selling it for 100-something thousand, and they was only charging us 50. So I give money to the mule, and me and Tim break down. So then after that, you know, I got hooked up with the Chinese people. So now I'm selling China white and the African dope. So I'm feeling like, you know, like I'm that nigga now. So we just blowing up. And like I said, you know, sometimes you have to be in the right place at the right time. So we selling it to all the dope dealers. You know, some of these dope dealers is coming 2 keys every 2 days. So, you know, it's like they were big time dope dealers, all the big labels. So we was like, yo, this shit is crazy. This is quick, fast money. So after we start getting fast money, you know, then I meet this girl. And when I meet this girl, you know, I start, she's from Florida, but her family was pushing that coke, the weight. So when I got plugged in with that, you know, the brother told me, he's like, yo, I could push. He said, how many keys you could push? And I was like, yo, whatever you get us. So I told my partners, and they was like, yo, grab them shit. So he gave us 250 keys at the beginning. We didn't have to go get them or nothing. They just shipped to New York for us. And I started giving out. Them shits went so fast. I brought back his money so quick. He was like, yo. He was wondering if I was a feds in that. So, but then he told me, he said, listen, I'll bless you with a lot of keys, but this is what you're going to have to do for me. And I said, what? He said, you got to stop seeing my sister. I do not want my sister with somebody that can go to jail forever or get killed. So if you do that, I'll start blessing you with the keys. So it was hard for me to leave her because I don't want to say her name, but it was hard for me to leave her because she was bad. 10 plus. Crazy body and everything. But I ended up having to back up on it. She hated me for it. She cried. But I had to do it for the business. And I told my partners, and it was like, yeah, you got to take one for the team. And I took it, and we started, next trip they gave us 500 bricks. And we started moving those, and it kept going up and up, man. I was worried that we had to separate where the bricks go because, you know, if the police bust the stash and they get all them bricks, how am I going to pay that back? You know what I'm saying? So we start separating the bricks and put them in different places. This way, we take a loss, we make it up on the end. So at that time, I was getting the keys for $10,000 a key, and I'm selling them for no less than 15. And some people 20, 21. You know, it depends on how close he was to me. And I'm giving out consignment. I'm giving it to all the people that, you know, I got love for. And, you know, I know everybody. So niggas was coming to get them shit like hotcakes. And me and D and the rest of our people, we just moving them joints and having fun. And, you know, the thing about me and D, we just used to hang out, party. We could go here, we could go to Vegas, we could go to Miami, we could go to Atlanta. We just have fun because he's a party animal like me. So we just, everywhere we at, we like the dynamic we do, and everybody want to be where we at. So they want, if they know we coming somewhere, they know they're gonna go to breakfast with us or whatever. And people just wanted to just hang out with us because we were the life of the party. We make things happen. Yeah, so it was getting hectic, man. We getting so much money bouncing back and forth, you know. The girl stealing, you know. The girl wasn't your number one girl. You had to worry about that because my snipers, boy, they really get me. D and D nice. You know, the number one, you safe with, but other than that, anything can happen. So we had to come up with a rule. D came up with a rule. I think we couldn't touch nobody's top 3 girls after a while. We get money and we spending money on everybody. But shit was getting so hectic, we start trying to figure out how we want to wash the money. The guys out of town, they was getting homesick because they got families and, you know, home. So, you know, they came to me. My birthday was coming up, and they came to me and they said, yo, Shue, why don't we throw a party for your birthday? And I was like, I don't really want to do that. They talked me into it, so they went to Nice and D, and they was like, yeah, and Kool-Aid. I forgot about Kool-Aid, and they went to them, and they was like, yeah, you know, let's throw a party for his birthday. So we did the party. We had Keith Sweat and Touch performing, and we had the party, and it was a success. We had like 2,500 people in there in our first party, and everybody came, you know. So afterwards, you know, the lieutenants and everything, they was like, yo, Shue, we should have a party every month. I started laughing. I said, well, this is the deal. If y'all finish up your packages, by that time, then we'll throw a party. We'll throw it every other month. This way, give you a chance to clean up your act on the street. So they make their money, come back and give us what they had to give us, and then we'll throw a party. So we start constantly throwing parties, and then we go into the parties now. We never took pictures before, never did stuff like that until I had to let them know I'm gonna have to take pictures because to promote the parties and put them on the flyers and stuff. So they said, all right, cool. But they wasn't taking pictures. D wasn't taking pictures. Nice wasn't taking pictures. Cool wasn't taking pictures in the beginning. So I'm pushing it. I'm pushing the pictures, with me and girls. So we still throwing the parties and then, we killing them. Maybe nobody could have a party when I had a party because we knocked them out the box. Anywhere we go, everybody want to know when we throwing another party. So all the other promoters, if they knew my party was coming up, they would never try to battle us and have it at the same time because they'll lose. So now, I go to a party and for my man's birthday, the Crane Club. It was Chaz's birthday. We go over there to the Crane Club, and there was a girl I was trying to go with me. It was her birthday too, and so it was so crowded. They was acting crazy in there, So I ain't with that shit. I walked around to Chaz and Wilson's, which is a hot spot on a Sunday night too. So when I went in there, I'm at the bar, I'm talking to some girls, and Madonna sends a guy over to me, and he says, Madonna wants to meet you, and she said, can you come over? I said, tell her I like my woman, like my coffee black, and I started laughing. I was just joking, but he went back over there to her, and then she came over to me, and she tapped me on my shoulder. She said, that was a racist comment. I was like, man, I was just joking, but after that, she's like, well, could you come over and kick it with me for a little while? So I went and was talking to her, we started kicking it, and the next thing you know, she told me she likes my eyes, and can we go out together and stuff like that? And I said, cool. So she took my number and I took hers. So then she said, I gotta go because I gotta get up. So I said, all right. So she kissed me on her cheeks and she left. So I go back to the party to try to get that girl that I wanted to take her off that night. Somebody shoots up in the air, so when they shoot up in the air, everybody starts scattering. So when they start scattering, I'm like kneeling down trying to figure out what's going on, where everybody's at, and Puffy running crazy like he was worried about something happening. I said, stay put before you get your ass shot. So I pulled him down to stay behind me. I pulled my gun out and I start calling out names. So I would call out, I said, yo, Big D, I didn't hear him. So I said, Preem, and Preem said, yo, I'm over here. I said, yo, what happened? And he told me, yo, somebody shot up in the air. So I said, all right, I'm coming out. So I came out, and we all went upstairs, and then they all arguing outside, and they, dudes is arguing, Chaz is twisted, so everything's going haywire. So I was like, yo, listen, everybody go home, man. This shit is just, it ain't about nothing. Boom, boom, boom. So niggas left, went home, and my people, I lost the girl. I was trying to take her off, and my people go off. That's when the day we had the beepers, and my people go off, and there's the 212 area code. So I call, and then the next thing you know, it's Madonna calling me. So she said, what you doing? I said, I ain't doing nothing now because the girl done left. I'm by myself. So she said, why don't you come by? So I think the place was on 60-something Street, 64th Street. I was on 72nd Street. So I shot down to her crib and went up to her loft. Went up on the loft, and the doorman, and she answered the door. She had a seafood negligee on. You know what happened next, So that's how me and her started swinging. So, the word on the street was getting around, and people were saying, yo, you can shoot Banging Madonna. And so I had to deal with my girl who was like hearing the rumors too, and she was like, and she was a bad girl. I don't know. I'm mad that I get lost to her too. She was black and white, and she was going through changes with me, but we crying, and the rumors. I ended up taking her to Aruba and St. Martin's. But what happened was I was supposed to be in a video called The Secret, and you could go look at it, and there's a guy in there that looked like me to play that part, and I was gonna get paid to do that. So I end up just breaking out and trying to patch things up, get my girl back on the right track, but it ain't work out like that. So when I came back, I was like, yo, just pack your shit and, it's over. So that being said, then I went back to McDonough, and she was in, they was halfway doing the video shoot, and I even helped to get the place in Harlem to do it. So when I got back there, she was mad at me, so, she started mouthing off, and I just like, fuck you too. Broke out on her, so now I lost 2 girls in one shot. So, I end up going back and doing what I was supposed to do, stay focused on my drug game. And then, before all that happened, I had met this old lady named Arlene Brickman, and Arlene Brickman became an undercover informant that helped get me locked up. And so I end up dealing with what I have to deal with, and then we ran out.